Welcome back everybody to Extreme Off-Road Silly Builds, and today we're dealing with the 2021 Dodge Durango SRT Hellcat. This now has 1071 horsepower, 895 pounds-feet of torque from its 6.5 litre supercharged V8 engine, and the car itself now weighs 4,307 pounds. Still has its all-wheel drive system, but it's now been paired with all-wheel off-road suspension and off-road tyres, and it can now do 0 to 60 in 2.932 seconds. 0 to 106.174 seconds, and going to a top speed of 220 miles an hour. So we've already seen what this can do on how fast will it go, which it did reasonably well given the size and the weight of the vehicle. And Dodge on this series have done reasonably well as well, because they have one of their cars in the top 10, and we've taken two others out as well. But the fastest with which is the Fast and Furious Dodge Charger, which managed 3 minutes 11.969 seconds. So extremely quick, especially for a car of that age. So yeah, and we've had obviously many SUVs on this series, and this is a fairly good one in terms of off-road capability and braking, launch and acceleration. Top speed is good as well, but obviously we're not going to get up to that in this series. Handling wise is also fairly good as well, considering how big and large this car is, and heavy and high riding. So yeah, obviously it has plenty of off-road capability, but that does not necessarily mean it's going to be that quick, because if you look at the top 10, with a single car in there that really should be in there outside of maybe the Lancia 037 Stradale, and every other car is an on-road car or a track car. So yeah, hopefully this can do better than many other SUV, but they traditionally do not do particularly well here, which is odd considering the surfaces we're dealing with, the amount of bumps and jumps, and just the general coursing itself. It shouldn't theoretically lend itself well to track cars and road cars, but weirdly enough it does. So this has the standard engine still in it. This has been heavily upgraded. For instance, we've already seen what the most powerful engine you can swap this into on another series. Give the standard engine a try, and it will at the end of the day make it more controllable. Not slow. Still getting up to nearly 170 down there, which is pretty good, about the average to be honest. Deal with the landing on this jump fairly well. High riding suspension absorbing the bump there rather than just sending it through the car and throwing it around. Fairly agile for a car of this weight and size. Certainly had far more cumbersome vehicles on this series. Not feeling overly fast though, unfortunately. But if it can be faster than the newest Dodge that we've had on this series, which has been the Magnum SRT8, then that would be fairly impressive, given this is obviously a much larger and heavier vehicle than that estate car. I'm generally surprised by how agile this is actually being. I'm expecting this to be a real tank around the corners. just missed out on under 3 minutes 20. Still 3 minutes 20.683 seconds is still fairly quick for a car of this type, and it means that we are quicker than the Dodge Magnum SRT8 by nearly 5 whole seconds, which is pretty mightily impressive given how much lighter and smaller that vehicle is. And yeah, the time itself means that we are slightly quicker than an Alumicraft Class 1 buggy, a Hyundai i30N, as well as recent vehicles like the the Ford Fiesta ST, the Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution 3 GSR, and the more modern, well, I say more modern, more typical off-roaders like the Rivian R1S, the Jeep Gladiator Rubicon, the Celine Sport Truck XR Black Label, the GMC Cyclone and Typhoon, and an Aston Martin DBX and Toyota Hilux AT38 were quicker than all of those vehicles. And yeah, I'd say the likes of the Rivian R1S and the Jeep Gladiator Rubicon do have more off-road capability than this car, as in standard form this especially is more of a sports truck than anything else. But yeah, with all the off-road elements that we've given this vehicle and all the extra power that we've given it, has certainly made a massive difference. But we are slightly slower though than a Lincoln Continental from 1962, not by a million miles, but the fact that we are slightly slower than a car that old is kind of interesting. And the R1T version of the Rivian is actually quicker than we are, so we're quicker than the SUV version of the R1, but not the pickup truck version, as well as a Chevrolet Silverado LT Trail Boss, a Ford F-150 Sport Raptor R, and a what's the fastest, kind of off-road vehicle that is more like an SUV that is quicker than us? To be honest, I think they're the ones that are pretty much the fastest of the ones that we're kind of in the same category as. I guess you could say the BMW iX xDrive 50 is sort of an SUV, and that is, again, far quicker than we are by nearly 6 seconds. And the GMC Hummer EV pickup, I guess is the most hardcore off-road SUV that we've had on this series that is quicker than us as well. So yeah, not as quick as some vehicles in its class, but also quicker than several that are, and quicker than some more lighter, more agile vehicles as well. So on the whole, fairly impressed by this. I was expecting it to be a real tank through the corners, like I said. Didn't expect the power to be enough to haul its 4,300 pound weight around, but thankfully it was. So yeah, on the whole, way better than I was expecting. Nonetheless though, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.